Hello, everyone, and welcome to FrennDiagram. This is the podcast where two friends catch up and find common ground between their favorite media. I'm Remy.
I'm Kat, and today we will be discussing the 2023 film Perfect Days and the British television series Ghosts. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Hey, Kat.
Hi, Remy. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been forever since we recorded.
Yeah, we had a nice little rest, a nice little recuperation period. I was really sick with COVID for like a week and then just had to play catch up. So I hope that everyone's been enjoying our re-released episodes in that interim. They've been really fun for me to revisit and look back at how awful my editing skills were.
Well, you're looking at how far you've come.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very proud of myself, and I've definitely gotten a lot better. So a lot of practice at anything will make you pretty good at one thing.
Yeah, I bet that's fun to see.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much movie news to catch up on. We're just going to have to hit the highlights, I think.
Yeah.
The Oscar noms came out since we last recorded, like weeks ago. And I would say overall, pretty good. Really good. Not bad. Not terribly exciting, or not terribly unexpected, but pretty pleased overall, I would say.
Yeah. Was there anything you were particularly surprised by?
I mean, I was absolutely hooting and hollering at the moon when I saw Mark Ruffalo got a Best Supporting Actor nom for Four Things. So that was a pleasant surprise.
I love that. Yeah.
Was really excited about that. My major disappointment was that Taste of Things didn't get International Film nom, and I want people to put more respect on the Taste of Things.
You guys don't respect love.
But yeah, I'm glad that, some other films, obviously Oppenheimer's got the most noms. That was unsurprising, but I was really pleased to see, Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest getting a lot of excitement too. So that's always fun.
Yeah. And
so, gosh, that'll be coming up in almost exactly a month now. So before then, we'll probably have the Frennies,
the first annual Frennies.
The inaugural Frennies.
Yes.
Where I've made up my own categories, and you get to listen to my nominations and winners.
I'm so excited.
So that'll be fun.
We should design a little trophy patch or something.
We should. That's going to be a fun time. And I guess I'll probably fill out my Letterboxd ballot, too.
Oh,
I know we talked about that last year. Perhaps we can do that again as well.
Yeah. That sounds great. I'm excited for the Frennies. I've been waiting in anticipation.
I know, I've been waiting, too. I'm just like, when am I going to get to tell Kat all my jokes?
Oh, man. Yeah. And then we had the February Remy's Radar come out. So there were lots of good little gems coming out this month. And Taste of Things was one of those. So that is in theaters this week, correct?
It started on the 9th. So if you have a chance to see it, I just implore you to do it. You will not be disappointed.
I think I'm most excited for Drive Away Dolls.
I think that's going to be really fun in March. That's on the March radar.
Oh, is it really? Oh, shoot.
Oh, actually, no. I think you're right. I think it's the 23rd of Feb.
Okay.
I'm mixing things up. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I did make all of them in advance, so I was like, maybe I did mess that up. Did I release the wrong Remy's Radar?
I'm just getting really stacked up on the final weekend of February because About Dry Grasses is coming to film at Lincoln Center, which I'm really excited for. And Drive Away Dolls is coming. And they're re-releasing Tenet on IMAX for 1 week only.
Oh, wow.
So
that'll be an event.
It's an exciting time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
I never technically got to see it on the big screen. You and I projected it illegally in inside the medical school.
That's true. That's true.
And so it was a screening of sorts, but...
Yeah, it wasn't too shabby. That was fun.
No, it was really fun. We had to use the means at our disposal.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, for the Super Bowl, I was watching the commercials because the commercials are the best part. And I saw the trailer for Twisters for the first time, which was stellar.
Yeah, that was the world premiere, I believe.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. And
so excited.
I also saw a trailer for a movie that wasn't on my radar, but it is the new film directed by Dev Patel and starring Dev Patel. I was gonna
tell you about that. Yeah.
What is that called?
Monkey Man.
Monkey Man. That looks incredible. And it's produced by Jordan Peele.
I know.
So it's gotta be
Did you hear
good.
the story about that?
No, I didn't.
Dev had a distribution plan with Netflix for it to go straight to Netflix. And then he showed it to Jordan Peele. And Jordan was like, Dev, this has to go into a theater. Like, you need to release this in theaters. I'll help you do it. And so now it's going to get a real theatrical release.
It looks incredible. I've never seen Dev Patel sexier and sweatier. It's amazing.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting to tell you about it. I didn't know that
belt.
I didn't
from a trailer.
From a trailer alone. Incredible. He deserves it. I know, I've been walking around the apartment just chanting, Monkey Man, Monkey Man, Monkey Man. And Will comes in the room, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, the Monkey Man's coming!
I'm so excited. And it was so funny, because I was just telling Scott the other day, I was like, God, I can't wait for the next thing that Dev Patel does. And I didn't know anything about this. I hadn't, Googled it. But I was just thinking, reminiscing on The Green Knight and being like, what a fantastic film. And then I was like, Newsroom. Loved him in Newsroom. And then I was like, I can't wait to see what he does next. And he's going to do some incredible shit. So.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I also sent you the trailer for Longlegs.
Oh my God.
Which
looks absolutely terrifying.
Good.
It looks
really good. Oh my God,
good.
It looks so good. I cannot wait.
Did I see that Nick Cage is on that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The advertising rollout that Neon has been doing for that has been flawless in that they're really keeping a lot of things held back, and the style of the posters and the style of the trailer and the teasers has been just spot on.
It's appealing. So unsettling. The trailer design for that is incredible. I really like that.
Shout out Neon. Good work so far.
Woo!
Cannot wait. That's coming in July.
July
We're howling at the moon already for all of these things.
July is stacked because that's when Twisters is coming out.
Twisters, baby. Yeah, what else do I have on my July?
So amazing.
Yeah.
We should rewatch Twisters right beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. Just me and my boys. My rowdy boys.
Oh, man. We should have a Twisters watch party where we all dress up as Twisters characters.
I get Phil Hoffman.
Yeah, okay. I don't know who I'll be. I think I want to be the maps
Alan
guy.
Ruck.
Rabbit. Yeah.
Oh, no, you want to be Todd Field. I think Todd Field does the maps.
No, Alan Ruck is maps.
Is he?
He's Rabbit.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah.
You do love maps.
I do love maps, and I like making a plan. I don't think I could navigate anywhere on an actual map, though. I kind of grew up outside of that generation. I remember using them on road trips with my mom.
Paper map?
But barely. Just barely.
You love an organizational system at the very least.
I just made new spreadsheets, all new spreadsheets.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Alan Ruck would be proud.
I can't wait.
I know, man. Fucking movies. They rule.
It feels good to be back. I was
I know,
nervous
doesn't
that
it?
coming back to recording, I'd be all awkward and weird, and I'm not. I'm not as awkward and weird as I thought I would be, at least.
I know, there's only room for excitement.
Mhm. Yeah, well, we can jump into our picks for today if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. I debated between two films that I just saw this weekend and really, really loved. They could not have been more different. The first film was the 2023 horror film When Evil Lurks, which is like an Argentinian film.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying it's the best horror film I've seen from last year.
Ooh.
It was absolutely incredible, and you should definitely see it if you get a chance.
Yeah, I need to get my pen out.
And then on the complete opposite spectrum, completely from that, I also saw Perfect Days in the theater because it finally came out to a wide release here. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So my favorite pick of the week is the 2023 film Perfect Days, directed by Wim Wenders, and it is co-written by Wim Wenders and Takuma Takasaki. And this film stars Koji Yakushuko as our lead character Hirayama, and he's a mostly solitary man that is living in the outskirts of Tokyo and driving into the city every day to work. And so this film is a very intimate portrait of Hirayama as a character because you follow him very closely throughout his daily routine. And you, as a viewer, just get to quietly observe his life as a mostly solitary person who loves music and reading, but also takes a lot of joy and pride in his work as a public toilet cleaner for the city of Tokyo. And something that's really interesting is that the film follows his daily routine, and you get the details of his life basically from the moment when he wakes up to the moment he falls asleep. So you see him wake up every day to the sounds of his neighbor sweeping the street, and you watch him do his morning routine, brushing his teeth and watering his plants. He has a ton of plants that he cares for very tenderly.
I saw that in the trailer.
Yeah. And he gets his can of coffee every day before he hits the road to set out for work. And in his van, he's always listening to his cassette tapes that he's had since the 70s and 80s. So he's always listening to tunes on the road. And then you watch him carefully tend to these public toilet structures that were designed by all these different celebrated architects. And you see his devotion to doing his job very well as a public service, and you can see that he takes a lot of pride and is very dedicated to his work. And then after you watch him go around to these different locations and these different public toilets that kind of look like a bunch of different art installations, they're really fascinating. But he's like tending to the same ones every day, so you see them many times as you're following his routine in a cyclic way. And then after his work finishes for the day, you see his after-work routine, which a lot of the time is him cycling around on his bicycle and going to the bathhouse and eating dinner. And then he always closes out the day reading books by lamplight. So he likes to read a lot of Faulkner and just a lot of, classic lit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the first act of the film, or at least I would say probably the first half of the film, has very, very little dialogue because Hirayama doesn't speak very much. A, because he's alone a lot of the time, but B, even when he is around people such as his co-worker or people in a public restaurant, he just is a very, very quiet and perhaps shy man. So he doesn't do a lot of talking. But I think despite that, Koji Yakusho's performance is extremely nuanced and very rich. You have a really thorough understanding of the character just from the way, Koji moves his face, like the way he cycles through expressions, his body language, the way he lights up when he sees his favorite trees on his lunch break. I didn't even talk about his lunch break. He always has a lunch break in this park area, I guess it has to be, and he sits by these trees that he loves, and he takes a film photograph of the trees every day. And he likes looking at the way light filters through the leaves of trees, and that's like one of his favorite things to study, just as he's having his nice little quiet lunch. And I just think Koji did such an incredible job imbuing this person with depth and richness while not using dialogue as a crutch whatsoever. And so I think that is, I mean, I assume that must be pretty challenging for an actor, and the performance is extremely, extremely well done, because you feel like you gain such an extreme understanding of this character watching him go about his life. And while that might not sound incredibly exciting at face value, it is just so engrossing, and I was never bored at any moment. I was just like enthralled watching this guy do his thing. I think a lot of that is credit that should be given to Tony Froschaumer, who's the editor of the film. Like, the pace never drags. You're always just fascinated by what you're looking at. And it's also just beautifully shot as well. And the DP was Franz Lustig. And so I think that the editing and the photography together just made it feel like you're swept away in the current of this man's life. And even though you're seeing the routine repeat, it's never boring, because you're always looking at it with fresh eyes, with a fresh perspective. And I think that also must have been quite challenging to pull off, but they did it very well. So some major things that I loved about this film was that it gave me a really inspiring feeling that reminded me a lot of the film Happy People that I covered a few weeks ago, the Werner Herzog documentary. And a lot of it has to do with watching someone very dedicated to their craft do their work very well, and the satisfaction that you get from seeing that. I had a lot of similar feelings watching Hirayama carry out his craft and have very clear dedication to his work.
The way you're talking about this, too, reminds me of the conversation you had about the taste of things. It reminds me a lot of, like, the way you talked about the structure of that, and kind of there not being a ton of conflict, but just, like, being fascinated by watching these people live their lives and do their thing, you know?
Absolutely. I thought about the taste of things a lot while I was watching Perfect Days as well. It's kind of like the perfect FrennDiagram between the taste of things and Happy People. It would be Perfect Days right there in the center. And there's just something, it's so engrossing watching that type of subject matter. For me, at least, I just absolutely loved it. But I also just loved seeing this character. I should have said, it's set in present day, and it's really refreshing and fascinating just to be locked in on a character who never uses a computer the entire time. And he talks on the phone maybe twice because he has to for work. Like, he's doesn't have an iPhone, I don't think. Like, he's never looking at a screen. He's reading his books at home. He doesn't have a TV, I don't think. You don't see it. And he's biking around, reading books, listening to his tapes, looking at trees, doing lots of looking at trees, and taking his photographs. And he's just doing his thing, living in the physical world. And I found that very aspirational. I wish I was much more like Hirayama in that way. So that was a really refreshing portrait to see. I already said that I really liked that that there's like such little speaking for a large span of the film. Something about that I just always really like. And I think it's really cool because you definitely see him in his routine. Like, you establish what his routine is through observation, and that gives you a greater appreciation for his reactions when that routine is disrupted in small or large ways.
Mm-hmm.
You get a variety of things for him to react to, and because you have come to understand him so well, or you feel like you understand him so well, those small disruptions reverberate emotionally at a much deeper level than they would for a character that you don't really understand so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially I already said I really liked Koji Yakusho's performance for how nuanced it is, but I would say if I had to pick like a specific moment where I thought it was extraordinary, it would be any conversation he has with another person where he's talking about his job, and you can tell that that person feels bad for him or thinks poorly of the work that he does, when clearly he sees it as something very important, but he also understands the way people look down on what he does, and the way that is conveyed by Koji's performance is really heartbreaking, but also really incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I also really liked how there's just great tunes, great cartoons, and Hirayama's appreciation for physical media. I love that. His bookshelf, oh my god, Kat, you would die for his bookshelf. It's so choice. It's incredible.
Love a good bookshelf.
I freaking love his apartment and or house. It's kind of like a split level apartment, I guess.
Okay, gotcha.
It freaking rocks. He's got a whole plant room. He's got awesome bookshelves. He's got killer windows. I love his sleeping arrangement, and it's so quiet. I think he lives in like the outskirts of Tokyo, and that's why he commutes in to work. So his neighborhood is super, super quiet, and he leaves his windows open at night so you can hear like the sounds of the birds, and it just sounds so perfect and so peaceful. And that apartment, I love it. And I just want to be this guy like so bad. And I was listening to an interview with Wim Wenders on the Big Picture podcast that Sean Fennessy did, and Sean Fennessy had a point that I definitely thought of when I was watching the film, because it's like, I want to live like this guy so bad. It looks amazing, but is any version of this possible, like, whatsoever outside of the specific ecosystem in Tokyo? Like, could a person in the US accomplish this? And I don't know if like we reached a conclusive answer in the interview, but I just like appreciated that someone else had doubts that, like, are we so far gone that no one could actually apply this in the environment that we live in?
Yeah.
And like Sean Fennessy shared that worry. So I'm hoping that at least in some ways, with the right resources and location, one could potentially migrate towards this lifestyle.
Like, I'm picturing a movie of you living your dream in Pennsylvania, like waking up in the morning, restoring furniture, like a nice little montage.
Yeah, chopping
going on a
wood
little
for the wood fire
with your big dog. And I feel like it's something that is achievable if we put ourselves in the right place. And I don't know, I'm picturing like farmers. I feel like farmers could have this. I don't know. Not me. Not yet.
Not yet. I don't think I could do it in Manhattan, but one day maybe I could.
You don't want to clean
close.
Toilets in Manhattan?
You know, they don't have public toilets here, as we learned from John Wilson, so that career is off. off the table.
It would be like the train station.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, there's like one bathroom in the Amtrak station.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't get a full day's work out of one location.
I don't know. It's New York City.
Yeah, but anyway, I think you'd really like this movie, Kat.
I think I would too. Everything you're saying is like all of the cozy, relaxing vibes that I feel like I need right now. Because it's still winter and I hate it. And I'm feeling a little bit saddy. So
yeah, this could definitely be like a refreshing 2 hours for you. Yeah, for sure.
That sounds lovely.
I also want to say, I thought the ending was really fascinating. I won't say anything else about it, but as soon as I encounter another person who's seen this movie, I'd love to talk about the ending.
Awesome.
So yeah, check out Perfect Days, please. Especially you, Kat.
Yeah. I hope I'll keep an eye out and see if it comes to the AMC by us.
Yeah. Soon. I did see it at the AMC Lincoln Square.
Cool. So yeah, it's
at
probably,
a bunch of places.
If it's in wide release, then it should be at our AMC. Yeah. So like I said, I have been in the mood for cozy media, which, I mean, I'm always in the mood for cozy media, so it's not really a huge surprise. But I was trying to find something to watch recently, and the ladies on Two Girls, One Ghost talk about ghosts occasionally. It just like comes up in passing. And I was like, maybe I should check that out. It's like pretty silly, goofy, and I might like it. I don't know. I'll give it a chance. And I saw it on Paramount Plus, which is where the first 2 seasons are streaming right now. So I'll only be talking about those because I haven't seen the rest of the show. But I found myself just flying through it. The seasons are only 7 episodes long, and the episodes are only like 20 to 25 minutes.
And this is Ghost UK, correct?
Yes. Okay. This is Ghost UK. I haven't seen any of the US version yet. But one thing that drew me to it was I recognized Lolly Adefope.
Yeah.
And she was one of my favorite Taskmaster contestants. I can't remember which series she was on.
I want to say 8? 4 or 5. Oh, she could have been 8. Something single digits for sure.
Yeah. No, I think she was on the series with Noel, which would have been 4.
Oh, then yeah.
I think, I don't know.
And Charlotte Ritchie also.
Yes. Was she in Taskmaster?
Yeah, she was on Mike Wozniak's season.
Oh, so that's why 11. She looked so familiar. I was thinking I just felt like she was familiar because she looks so much like Emma City from Starstruck to me.
Oh, interesting.
They both just have like the same length chocolate brown hair and like kind of a similar facial structure. I was like, that's that person.
Yeah, you know her from Taskmaster too.
Yeah, I need to go back to that season. Mike Wozniak just stole the show and I didn't have room for anyone else in my brain.
He blocked out everyone else.
But yeah, I mean, it's got a killer cast and they have really great comedy in this show. I don't know. I love British comedy and there's like really great physical moments in the show, like physical comedy, and I just eat up every moment of this show. I can't wait to rewatch it. So, for anyone who doesn't know the premise of the show, this show started running in 2019, and it was created by a bunch of people, but most of them are cast members. So, cool. Most of the people who created the show are cast members. So you've got Simon Farnaby, who co-wrote Wonka, actually, if you've seen Wonka.
Oh, with Paul King?
Neat. So he's in it. You've got Ben Wilbond, who plays the captain. You've got Matthew.
Did you ever see Wonka?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, okay.
But my mom and my aunt love it. They have seen it multiple times in the theater now, which I think is adorable.
Wonka heads.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. It's got Matthew Bainton in it, who is like this poet character. And then it's got Jim Hawick in it, who is the guy with the arrow through his neck.
That's him. Okay.
He's like
I recognize
iconic.
Him from like a bevy of UK TV shows. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like
Yeah,
Sex
I've never seen
Education
him.
and Luther, I want to say. Is
Yeah,
where
I haven't
mostly knew
seen
him
either
from.
of those.
That's right.
But he's amazing. Pat is like my favorite character.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give a spoiler warning for the pilot episode. So I'll be spoiling the pilot episode, but I'll be trying really hard not to spoil anything after that. It's got a sitcom though, so you can't really spoil much.
Mm-hmm. And it's just the pilot.
Yeah. So the main character, Allison, who is played by Charlotte Ritchie, her and her husband inherit what is known as Button House. And it's inherited from a very, very distant relative that they've never met before. And they're basically told this house is going to just like sink money. You don't want to fix it. You kind of just want to sell it. And instead of selling it, they decide to move in and work on it to create a boutique hotel, which is like kind of the starting goal. And when they move in, they're unaware that the house is full of ghosts, and the ghosts are unaware that the house is being moved into. So they're like, who are these new people? They're not dressed fancy because it's like a fancy house. And when they find out that the house is going to be made into a hotel, they're like, oh, no. That's going to be too many changes. We don't want that. And so they come up with a plan a la Beetlejuice to haunt their house.
So Beetlejuice.
And get these people out. And so there's one guy, he can like make the lights flicker. And so he's making the lights flicker. And there's one guy, he can like push really, really hard on a glass and like move it just a little bit. And so they're trying their best and they cannot haunt these people out of their house. So one of the guy that can push things, he ends up pushing Charlotte Ritchie out a window while she's like leaning out of it to check something. Mm-hmm. And she falls and goes into a coma. And then they're like, okay, cool. These people aren't coming back, obviously. But they do come back. And when they come back, Charlotte Ritchie's character realizes that she can now see and hear all of the ghosts in the house. And her husband can't. He thinks she's going crazy. Mm-hmm. But eventually she proves that she's actually able to see these ghosts. And she kind of becomes a liaison and speaker for the ghosts and helps them advocate for themselves in the redoing of the house. And so she kind of has to balance this newfound ability to see and hear all of the ghosts in the house while she's trying to talk to contractors, and ghosts are like talking to her. And so it makes space for these really funny moments where she'll be like responding to a ghost and not realize that someone else is in the room, and they just kind of look at her and she's like, I hit my head really hard. I was in a coma. So yeah, I just think that the premise is one that is just ripe for comedy, and it's just a perfect cast to execute it. And I didn't cover all of the ghosts in the house, so we've got Kitty, who's played by Lolly Adefope. She's like this very cheery, childish ghost that like gets really excited and always wants to be involved in things, and like wants to have a sleepover with the owner and is just like very, very kid-like and very sweet. There is Thomas, who is a poet. And he is like waxing poetic all the time and just very excessive. And he's also actively pining for Charlotte Ritchie's character and like wants her to leave her husband for him. And he's very dramatic about it. And it's very goofy. There's Julian, who is a Tory MP. I don't know what an MP is. I assume it's something to do with Parliament. It doesn't matter enough to me. But he doesn't have pants on because he died while he was doing it. And then there's Fanny Button, who is the matriarch. She's like the original owner of the house. Right. She's really interesting because she does like a residual haunting thing where she gets pushed out of a window every day at the same exact time and like relives her death all the time. And then There's Pat, who's got the arrow through his neck from a Boy Scouting accident.
Mm-hmm.
Robin, who's a Neanderthal. He's quite possibly my favorite character. There's a really good episode where she like puts on YouTube for him so that he can learn about the moon landing, but then YouTube starts auto-playing conspiracy theory videos about the moon landing. And it's my favorite thing. It's priceless. And then there's the captain, who's a World War II officer, and Mary, who was in the witch trials. And if you walk through her, smoke comes out of her, and it's very traumatic, and she can't talk about it yet.
Isn't that Katie Wicks, by the way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Oh, awesome.
What do I know her from?
From Taskmaster.
Man, what series was she in? I don't even know.
I think she was in James Acaster's series.
Oh, you know what? I do remember her. Yeah. She looks so different in this.
She's so funny, yeah.
But yeah, it's a perfect cast. I love them all. And I love the husband. He's really funny because the ghosts really freak him out and he like can't see them. And he's like always like talking to the room. He's like, okay, I know you're in here and you need to get out. And then it like pans to them all down in the living room and no one's there. Aww. No one's around. So good. But yeah, I mean, I think you can hear from how I talk about it that I absolutely adore this show. It made me feel so good, and any show that can do that is just a joy to watch because, I don't know, there's just so many bad vibes out there sometimes, and anything that can dispel those is great. And yeah, I just think that there's such a variety of wholesome relationships that Allison has with all of the different ghosts in the house. Like, one of my favorite episodes is called Happy Death Day, and every year on Pat's death day, his family comes to the spot where he died to like mourn him. Oh, and he's never had the opportunity to like interact with them and like deal with anything. And so Allison like doesn't say anything about the fact that Pat's still there, but like goes and introduces herself to his family and gives him some closure and like introduces him to his grandchild. Oh, and it's really sad, but so heartwarming and sweet. But then there's also like really light things where like the ghosts kind of get into a routine, and every morning, first thing, the captain wants to like run as fast as he can, and he wants the main character to like time him out the window. And he wants to see if he can beat a certain distance in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And he can't because he's dead, and he can't like improve his speed because he doesn't have real muscles. Yeah. It's just very wholesome and sweet. It's got really good Christmas episodes. Like the Christmas specials are really heartwarming. But yeah, I think it's like a perfect mix of contemplating death and contemplating unfinished business with a ton of comedy. And so it just like mixes those two things really, really well in a way that kind of gets you thinking. But yeah, I think I covered all my notes. Oh, I do have a short list of my favorite episodes if people want to keep an eye out for them when they watch it. So like I said, Happy Death Day is one of my favorites. It's season 1, episode 3. Season 2, episode 3 is The Ghost of Christmas, and that one is the first Christmas special that they did. Season 2, episode 6 is Bump in the Night, and that's where burglars break in while the husband is the only one home, and the ghosts have to tell the husband that there are burglars. Okay. And they're trying to like figure out ways to communicate with each other. Oh. It's very good. Season 2, episode 7 is Perfect Day. Hey. Where they have a wedding in the house. Oh, what an overlap. And then season 2, episode 4 is Redding Weddy, which is the one with the moon landing video compilation. So that's great. I loved it. But it just makes me feel so light and happy. So I think I'll be rewatching that for a really long time.
Oh, wonderful. How many seasons is it?
It has 5 seasons.
5.
And I don't know why Paramount Plus does not have those seasons. I cannot solve the mystery, so I will be purchasing the remaining seasons on Amazon because they actually have them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's...
Otherwise, you'd have to get Acorn or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I should look into that. But yeah, I can't figure out where the other seasons are. Give me ghosts. Give me ghosts or give me death.
Tell us where they are.
But yeah, it's super good. I highly recommend it. Have you seen any of them?
I've definitely seen the pilot.
Okay.
I want to say I've maybe seen 2 episodes even.
Okay.
I've seen some amount of them somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute, yeah.
It's great. It's very silly goofy, but I really loved it, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think we already have our first overlap, which is that there's an episode called Perfect Day. And the movie's called Perfect Day. I wouldn't have even realized that if you hadn't said something right then.
Awesome. Another easy overlap. Feels good.
Feels great. Feels amazing. One thing that I thought of while you were talking, which I didn't bring up directly, but is kind of in the nature of a sitcom, it's actually a contrast between the two, is that you mentioned there being very, very little dialogue in your film, while this has tons of dialogue. It's like overlapping people talking over one another because they're all ghosts, and then there's like real people trying to talk, and so that kind of adds to the comedy. But I just thought that was really interesting because it's like 2 extremes of the spectrum.
Yeah. I think one thing I didn't get into in my description of Perfect Days was Hirayama's relationships with the people around him. But when you talked about the wholesome relationships in Ghosts, it reminded me of some of the big points in Perfect Days where Hirayama's niece comes to live with him for a while because she ran away from home, and then she gets introduced to his daily routine and shadows him at work and learns about how he lives his life, and basically is like, I want to stay here forever, this rules. And they have like a very nice wholesome relationship, so that's very sweet. And he has a very wholesome relationship with his coworker, even when his coworker can be kind of obnoxious. Like they have a really nice relationship as well. So I would count that as an overlap.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, kind of in a different way, obviously, but I suppose Perfect Day has this focus on the main character's daily routine, and there is a really nice intro sequence to one of the episodes. I think it might be season 2, episode 1, where you're seeing them kind of all fall into a normal daily routine. So like she wakes up, she times the guy. He's like, did I do it faster than 1 minute and 30 seconds? And she's like, no. And then she like goes into the living room, and there are like books set up on music stands. And so she'll like turn a page for the people who want to sit and read the book. And so they're reading it like 1 page at a time. And then she like goes and makes her breakfast, and Thomas comes and talks to her and tries to court her. And it's like a really nice, cute little daily routine that they clearly do every day. So I would say that kind of overtly showing a daily routine, at least a morning routine, is one of the overlaps.
Definitely. I don't know if I have any others.
I don't have anything else either. That was good. I thought it was going to be hard when you were talking, but I think we came up with some good ones.
No, I think those are solid.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to go back and watch all of the Taskmasters now of all of the new people that I'll recognize this time around. Trying to think if there's any other business. I don't think so.
Yeah, just check out Perfect Days by Wim Wenders and check out Ghosts UK if that strikes your fancy. Thanks for joining us this week on FrennDiagram. Thank you to Tyler Seek for the creation of our intro and outro music. Did you take any of our recommendations? Have any thoughts on the show? Let us know at FrennDiagramPod@gmail.com, and we might read your email on a future episode. If you can, please take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice, and we'll see you back here, same place next week. Bye for now.